Good morning, children. Now we are going to do the third chapter in geography, physiography and drainage. Now children, in the previous chapter, we had done location and extent of India and Brazil. Children, just try recollecting what we had done under location and extent. Now, India lies in the northern hemisphere as well as in the eastern hemisphere. Okay, children, I think you remember. It lies in the continent of Asia. India is a peninsula which is surrounded on three sides by water. On the western side, we have the Arabian Sea. On the eastern side, we have the Bay of Bengal. And to the south, we have the Indian Ocean. The Tropic of Cancer, 23.5 degrees north, passes through India. Indian Standard Time is based on 82.5 degrees east longitude, which passes through India. Okay, so children, this is what we did under India. Now let's come to Brazil. Now Brazil is a country in the continent of South America. A part of Brazil lies in the northern hemisphere, but we find more of it lies in the southern hemisphere. At the same time, it also lies in the western hemisphere. Okay, now let's go over to physiography and drainage. Here, we'll first do India and then we'll move over to Brazil. Now, under physiography, we are going to deal with physical divisions of India. Now, physical divisions of India can be broadly divided into the northern mountain wall, which is also known as the Himalayas. Then we have, okay, you can see the Himalayan ranges here. Then we have the Indo-Gangetic Plain, that is watered by the rivers, the Indus and the Ganges and its tributaries. Then we have the Great Indian Desert, also known as the Thar Desert. Then we have the Deccan Plateau and the coastal plains. Okay, now, so here you can find the coastal plains. Okay, we have the eastern coastal plain and the western coastal plain. Okay, now let's move over to the Himalayas. Now, Himalayas forms the northern border of India, stretching from west, okay, that is Tajikistan, towards the east. Now, Himalayas are young fold mountains. Okay, now we'll be doing about the Himalayas in detail in the subsequent lessons, but just for the time being, remember they are young fold mountains. The highest peak is Mount Everest, but in India it is K2. Okay, now Himalayas have many passes in between. It's actually not a continuous mountain range. Okay, we have many passes here. Okay, so Jalipla Pass, okay, Khyber Pass, Bolan Pass, etc. So it is actually through these passes that trade used to be carried on in ancient times. Okay, apart from this, we have also the Himalayas can be divided into three parallel ranges as we move from the south to the north. Okay, that is the Shivaliks, the middle Himalayas and the greater Himalayas. Now, the higher reaches of the Himalayas, that is above say 6,000 meters, are always covered with snow. That is, these are regions of permanent snow. Okay, now Himalayas are very important to India because they affect the climate of India. Cold winds coming from Tibet are blocked by the Himalayas. Apart from this, we find as the Himalayas are regions of permanent snow, most of our North Indian rivers like the Ganga, the Indus have their origin in the snow-capped regions of the Himalayas. So these rivers are perennial. That is, they have water throughout the year. In summer, due to the melting of the glaciers, and during the rainy season or monsoons, they get rain. So they are perennial rivers. Now, next we come to the Indo-Gangetic Plain. Now, the Indo-Gangetic Plain lies between the Himalayan ranges and the Deccan Plateau. Between these North Indian plains, also called the Indo-Gangetic Plain, because it is watered by the rivers Ganga, its tributaries, as well as the Indus. And they are formed as a result of deposition of alluvium. Now, if you look at the map, the physical map of India, okay, you can find on the west, okay, you'll find the river Indus together with the tributaries. We have the Satluj, Chenab, Ravi, Byas, okay, Jhelum. Okay, these are the tributaries of the river Indus. Now, these rivers rise in the Himalayas and they flow through the entire, western part. They cover the regions of Punjab, Pakistan, and they open into the Gulf of Kutch. Okay. Now, here, apart from this, we also have the Ganga and its tributaries. The Ganga rises in Gangotri Glacier, and as it flows down, okay, it comes to a foothill zone, and the river Ganga is met by many tributaries on the right bank as well as on the left bank. These rivers, the volume of water increases in the rivers and they flow through the entire length of the plain, and it opens into the Bay of Bengal. Now, when the river Ganga, together with tributaries, opens into Bay of Bengal, we find a delta is formed at its mouth. Okay, here the Ganga is also joined by the Brahmaputra river, okay, which rises in Mansarovar Lake, okay, and it traverses the entire length of, it comes down through, the Himalayas, enters India through Arunachal Pradesh, and it joins, the Brahmaputra joins Ganga, and together they form the greatest delta in the world, which is called the Sundarbans Delta. Okay, now next is the Great Indian Desert. Now, the Great Indian Desert is also called the Thar Desert, okay, or it is also called the Marusthali. Okay, then we move over to the Deccan Plateau. Now, here to the south of the North Indian Plains, okay, and the Peninsular Plateau, we have the Deccan Plateau. Okay, now the Deccan Plateau is formed as a result of fissure type of volcanic eruptions. Apart from this, you can also see smaller plateaus here. Okay, we have the if you see here, okay, you can see, can you see this? Bundelkhand Plateau, Bhagelkhand Plateau, etc. Now all these are smaller plateaus. We have Bundelkhand, Bhagelkhand, okay, the Malwa Plateau, okay, Mewar, then Chota Nagpur Plateau, okay. Then on the west further, okay, you can also see the Aravali Range. Now Aravali Ranges are old fold mountains. Okay, children. Now let's come to Peninsula region. Now here you have on the western side of India, okay, we have the Western Ghats, and the eastern side is the Eastern Ghats. So where are the Western and Eastern Ghats located? Okay, so between the Arabian Sea and the Western Ghats, we have the Western Coastal Plain. And on the east, if you see, we have the Eastern Coastal Plain between the Eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal. So if you look at this, Western and Eastern Coastal Plain, if you compare, you'll find the Western Coastal Plain is rather very, very narrow when you compare it with the Eastern Coastal Plain. Okay, now Western Coastal Plain can be divided as the Konkan coast. Then we have the Karnataka coast. Okay, then we have the Malabar coast. Okay, then on the eastern side we have the Coromandel coast. Okay, in Tamil Nadu. Okay, then so you have seen that the Western Coastal Plain is narrow when you compare it with the Eastern Coastal Plain. Now, many rivers, due to the tilt of the Deccan Plateau, many of these peninsular rivers, open into the Bay of Bengal. Okay, the Deccan Plateau slopes from west to east. So you find most of the peninsular rivers like the Godavari, Krishna, Mahanadi, then Kaveri, etc., which rises from the eastern part of the Deccan Plateau, eastern part rather of the Western Ghats, they open into the Bay of Bengal. Okay, so and these rivers have formed extensive deltas at their mouths. Now, most of the rivers which rise on the western part of the Western Ghats are very short, but they're swift and they have formed estuaries. Okay, children? Now, next is we come to islands. Now, in the Arabian Sea, we have the Lakshadweep Islands, and in the Bay of Bengal, we have the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Sri Lanka is a small island which is situated in the extreme southeast of India. Okay, we have the Park Strait which separates India from Sri Lanka. Okay, so let's move over to the questions. Now, based on this map, we have certain questions. Okay, so we are going to answer that. In which direction does a region with an altitude of more than 6,000 meters lie in India? Okay, so look at the altitude scale here. Okay, so you'll find here the height is given in meters. Okay, so above 6,000, look at that. Okay, so this color, if you see, you find more of this in north. Okay, can you see above 6,000 meters? These are the regions. Okay, so in which direction does a region with an altitude of more than 6,000 meters lie in India? It is a northern region. Look for the south flowing river in Peninsula India. In which river basin does it lie? Okay, so south flowing river. Okay, can you see? This is a south flowing river. This is Kaveri river. Okay, then in which direction is the slope of the region in the north shown in dark green? Okay, so dark green. Okay, can you see? This is the dark green color. Where is it? It is in this is sloping towards the northeast. That is, okay. Can you understand? So, in which direction is the slope of the region in the north shown in dark green? That is along the northeast. Okay. Next is make a list of plateaus located in between Aravalli Ranges and the Chota Nagpur Plateau. Okay. Now, same. We have the Aravalli Ranges here and Chota Nagpur Plateau is here. That is, okay. Can you see Rajmahal Hills? So, in between you have many plateaus. That is, you have Bundelkhand Plateau, we have Malwa Plateau, then we have Bhagalkhand Plateau. Okay, so what are the plateaus here between the Ravlis and the Chotanagpur plateau. It is Mewar, Malwa plateau, Bundelkhand and Bhagelkhand. Name the peak shown in the eastern Ghats. Okay. Now, in the eastern part, along the eastern Ghats, we have Mahendragiri Hills and Nalamala Hills. Okay. Now, here, the eastern and western Ghats meet at Nilgiris. Just remember, children, the eastern and western Ghats, okay, meet at Nilgiris. Okay. Here, along the eastern Ghats, we have two important hill ranges. They are Mahendragiri Hills and Nalamala Hills. Okay, so name the peak shown in the eastern Ghats. That is Mahendragiri and Malayagiri. Which mountains demarcate the deep plains of the Brahmaputra? Okay, now if you can see here, okay, we have certain hills along the northeast part of India. The Himalayas extend into northeastern part of India as the hills of the Purvachal. So you've got smaller hill ranges. Okay, you have got Dafia Hills, Khasi Hills, Jaintia Hills, Patkai ranges. Okay, so these are the various ranges, okay, which demarcate the deep plains of Brahmaputra. They are Dafia Hills, Patkai range hills, you have Naga, Khasi, Garo and Jaintia hills. Okay, next is give the relative location of Nilgiri Hills. Now, where is Nilgiris? I just showed you. It is in South India, in the state of Tamil Nadu. As I said, the eastern and western Ghats meet at Nilgiris. In which direction does the height of Sahyadri Hills increase? Okay, so come to Sahyadris. Okay, we have the Sahyadri ranges. Okay, from the north to the south. Okay, so the height of Sahyadri ranges increases from the north to the south. The Vindhya acts as a water divide between which two rivers? Okay, so we have the Vindhyas mountains. The Vindhya mountains acts as a water divide between the two important rivers. We have the Himalayan rivers as well as the Peninsula rivers. Or you can say between the Ganga and the Narmada rivers. Okay, now let's come to physical features of Brazil. Okay, now physical features of Brazil. Okay, we have just completed India. Let's move over to Brazil. Physical features now. Now, here, unlike India, you find there are very few, places which are the maximum, if you see, are just about say 1,000 meters. But in India, you find many of the mountains are about 6,000 meters. But here you find in Brazil, there are very few, areas which are about 1,000 meters. Okay, so physical features of Brazil can be divided into the following. We have the Brazilian highlands, then you have the Great Escarpment, the coastal plains, okay, of the north and the east. Okay, then you have the Amazon River Basin. Okay, then can you see the Amazon River Basin? Okay, then you have the islands. Okay, the islands are there, Marajo Island. Okay, now can you see the Brazilian highland? Okay, so most of the you have very small plateaus or even highland regions here. Okay, then you have Brazilian highlands, then you have the Guyana highlands along the northern part. Okay, the most important river basin here is the Amazon River, the longest river in Brazil. Now, you can see many tributaries of the river Amazon here. You have Puru, Japura, okay, Negro rivers, etc. Now, another important and interesting feature about the Amazon River Basin is that unlike the Ganga River, this river does not form a delta. This is because, the Amazon gets water from so many, say, tributaries, that the volume of water in the river is so much that the sediments which are collected by the river just gets washed away. So what happens is, at the mouth of the river, no delta is formed, but you can find island. Okay, so Marajo Island is formed as a result of deposition of sediment. Okay, then you can have, now apart from the Amazon River, we also have smaller rivers like the Parana River. Then you have the Paraguay River system, and also the São Francisco River, which is the only river which moves along the entire eastern part of Brazil. Okay, the Brazilian highland is also called the Brazilian Plateau or the Brazilian Shield. The largest wetland in the world is called the Pantanal. Okay, then we have the highest peak here. Okay, that is Pico di Neblina, about 3014 meters. Okay, which is along the border with Venezuela. Okay, which is along the border of Brazil and Venezuela. You can see it here. Okay, now the ocean, that is the North Atlantic Ocean, can be seen along the eastern as well as the northern part of Brazil. Okay, now let's come to the question based on this map. What is the range of altitude of Amazon River Basin? Okay, first find out the way the Amazon River is. This is the Amazon River. What's the color given? Okay, it is green. So just find out it is between 0 to 2,200 meters. Okay, so the altitude of Amazon River is 0 to 200 meters. Between which two highlands is the Amazon River Basin located? Okay, so this is the Amazon River Basin. Okay, so between which two highlands? We have the Guiana Highlands and the Brazilian Highlands. Okay, so the Amazon River Basin is located between Guiana Highlands and the Brazilian Highlands. Observe the region with an altitude 500 to 1000 meters. Describe the locational setting of this region shown in yellow with reference to direction. So it's in yellow. Okay, so this is this region. Okay, so what is, where is it located? So you would have seen it is to the south of the Amazon River. What do the isolated regions shown in yellow indicate? So as I told you, this region that is in yellow, that's marked yellow, shows you the plateau region. Okay, so isolated regions shown in yellow indicate plateau region. Okay, fifth one. Besides the Amazon River Basin, where else do you find regions with an altitude of less than 200 meters? Okay, so you can find it. Okay, look at this. This is a green region where you have the Amazon River Basin. So you can find in all these regions, that is the bay. Marajo Island you can see. Then the São Marcos Bay also you can see. Okay, you can find the same here in Pampas region. Okay, you got it? Okay, so the green color, that is the region which has an altitude of less than 200 meters, is seen the Pampas, the Paraguay, Marajo Island, São Marcos Bay, etc. Name the plateau region with a height of 200 meters to 500 meters through which the tributaries of the Amazon flow. So the tributaries of the Amazon River flows through, can see. Okay, these are the tributaries of the Amazon River. As I told you, Ispuru, Japura, Negro. Okay, so these are flowing through the Guiana Highlands. Okay, then name the highest peak in Brazil. I showed you where this is. The highest peak in Brazil is Pico di Neblina. Can you see? This is 3014 meters. Then, which island is located to the north of Brazil? Which is the island? It is Marajo island which is formed as a result of deposition of sediment. Okay, now identify the correct group. Okay, this is a question based on the map. The order of plateaus of India from south to north. We have the question: Karnataka, Maharashtra, Bundelkhand, Chota Nagpur, Malwa and Marwar, Telangana, Maharashtra, Marwar. So from the south to the north. Okay, so your correct answer is Karnataka, Maharashtra and Bundelkhand. The order of physiographic units in Brazil by going from northwest to southeast. Okay, so from the northwest to southwest, you have Parana River Basin, Guiana Highlands, Brazilian Highlands, Guiana Highlands, Amazon River Basin, Brazilian Highlands, Coastal Plains, Amazon River Basin and Brazilian Highland. So what's the correct answer? The answer is Guiana Highlands, Amazon River Basin and Brazilian Highlands. These rivers of Brazil are north flowing. Okay, so Zureika, Zingo, Aragua, Negro, Branco, Paru, Chapura, Charua, Purus. So the rivers I just showed you, they are Zureika, Zingo and Aragua. Okay, now next another question for you. Identify the wrong pair. Mountain ranges and peaks. Okay, we have Karakoram, K2. Guiana Highlands, we have Pico di Neblina. Mahadev Hill Ranges, we have Kalsubai. Eastern Ghats, Mahendragiri. So we have already done Eastern Ghats, we know it is Mahendragiri. Guiana Highlands, we know it's Pico di Neblina. Karakoram, we know it is K2. So it's the wrong pair, children. It is Mahadev Ranges, that is Kalsubai. Okay, children. So we have finished with this part, children. Go through the video presentation. We'll continue with this lesson, okay, in the next session. Thank you.